gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the gangster of guns, the Mac Daddy of knives, the epic one himself is back to talk to you today about the greatest handgun ever made. Now, I've said it before and I will say it again. All handguns should be Glocks, all Glocks should be 9mm, and all 9mm Glocks should be 19s. It is the only gun you will ever need. It is the AK of the handgun world. The Glock 19. 9mm, 9x19, whatever you want to call it, 9mm parabellum. Any way you want to go, it is the way you should have your gun. And, of course, right here, we have a Glock 19. Now, this is brand new. This is a Gen 3. You probably will not see me with a Gen 4 because I do not like the new grip style. Just not my thing. This is literally brand new, out of the box. Bought it yesterday afternoon. Have a couple other Glocks, several 9s, several 19s, got a couple 17s. As you can see right here, this is my tried and true Glock 17. This is a second gen, and I've had this for, I don't even know how long I've had this 17. And I have run thousands upon thousands of thousands of rounds through this bad boy, and I love every round coming out of it. Beautiful, beautiful gun. But it's a little big to carry. It is a full 5-inch barrel. Does make it a little big for a carry gun on a daily basis. I have tried the Kel-Tecs. I've tried, you know, little revolvers. There will be a review coming up, my little Smith & Wesson Airweight 642. But I always come back to the Glock 19. And I've just retired my 19 Gen 2 from everyday carry duties because I went ahead and replaced it with this beautiful 19 Gen 3. It was just getting to the point where the trigger was getting real loose because there's been tens of thousands of rounds downrange with that gun, and the trigger's super smooth, very beautiful, but it's getting a little light for an everyday carry. Needed a little bit stiffer of a trigger. So I went ahead and picked this bad boy up. Now, of course, we know people's complaints. Oh, the Glock doesn't have a safety. The Glock doesn't have this. Well, douchebags, there's your safety right there. If the finger's not on the trigger, it's a safe gun. Now, I did choose to retire my 19 Gen 2, specifically the fact that the trigger was getting lighter and lighter with more use because the internals were getting smoother and smoother. Same concept that if you had done the 25-cent trigger job and gone in there and smoothed up and polished up the internals to make the trigger smoother. So I chose to go ahead and retire that one and replace it with this bad boy. But, of course, the first thing I did was I went over to Glockmeister here in Phoenix, and I got the Ghost 3.5-pound trigger lever, and then I got the competition spring and went ahead and replaced those already. So took the Glock from the 5.5-pound trigger that it comes stock with the Ghost adapter, or the Ghost trigger adapter that takes it down to about 4.5, and with the competition spring that puts it at about a solid 4-pound trigger pull, which is, I think, perfect for an everyday carry gun. It has an absolutely beautiful, oh, sounds so sexy. Oh, just sexy. Sexy right there. And of course I did go ahead and grab the +2s while I was there, so I could go from 15 to 17 rounds. This is my carry mag that I was carrying today, so I always like to be nice to my rattle. Notice that. Damn rounds rattling. I do always like to be nice to my springs, so I generally will always carry one less than what the capacity is. So this is a 17 round capacity now, so I've got 16 in it, which is just ideal, because then I generally always have a spare mag in my back pocket, or, you know, in my belt, on my belt somewhere. So 32 rounds, I'm pretty good to go. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Glock. Everyone knows the Glock. It's been one of the most iconic handguns, in my opinion, ever made. It is just a perfect fit Honestly, if you ever watch any tactical shooting channels, especially one of my favorite channels that I watch is James Yeager over there somewhere in the deep south. I love that guy. I love his attitude towards, you know, guns. That 1911 suck, and if it's not a Glock, what the fuck's wrong with you? The guy really hits the nail on the head almost every time, and I really agree with a lot of what he has to say about Glocks. Now, I think the next upgrade that this bad boy is going to get will probably be that XS big dot sight setup that he likes. It looks really cool. I've never actually upgraded the sights on a Glock before, ever. I've always just had the standard, you know, Glock sights. And yeah, don't worry, they've already been checked, so don't be a whiny little bitch about it. It's got a mag in it, set the fuck up. It's my hand. If I blow it off, it's my problem. You know, I've always just kind of kept the stock sights out of the box on a Glock, but I think, you know, doing an upgrade on the sights and get those XS big dot sights with the tritium would be kind of cool. So you can see, you know, see, I just love the way this gun fits in my hand. And I got big hands, guys. Like, I prefer the 17 because it's the full size and it fits just beautifully in my hand. You can see right there. But like I said, that 5-inch barrel is a little much. This nice 4.5-inch or 4.25 inch, whichever the barrel length is, just tends to leaves itself to a great little carry gun. And even loaded, I think this gun loaded is still under 30 ounces. So I think you can keep it under 2 pounds, which isn't bad. I know that my Smith & Wesson Airweight, that 642 that I carry, that pocket carry with the little Galco or whatever the Nemesis pocket holster is, I think loaded with the 5 rounds of 38 in that, it sits at about exactly 16 ounces or 1 pound. So this is about double the weight, but again, I'm carrying 16 rounds. You know, and I have semi-auto capability where I can just keep banging away on that trigger and not having an issue. I'm not going to do a breakdown of, you know, how to install stuff on it unless you guys really want that. I know there's a lot of videos of those out there on how to clean up and how to install stuff on the gun. And if you want it, ask and maybe I'll do it. But I do plan on doing the 25-cent trigger job to this gun to maybe get it down to that ideal 3.5 pound, true 3.5 pounds. Because right now I'm pretty sure this is probably breaking at about 4.25 pounds. I did order my trigger pull gauge for my my Remington 700 because I need to set the trigger pull on that one to a nice crisp 2 pounds for long distance shooting, which is what I like. But once I do that, I'll figure out where this thing is. And I do like the fact that on the Gen 3, as well on the Gen 2, they didn't monkey around with the magazine ejector. They kept it nice and simple and small. I've looked at the Gen 4 with that bigger magazine ejector, and I don't like that. I don't like big magazine ejectors because, you know, I know a lot of cops. I've been friends with a lot of cops. You know, I've been in the military. I have a lot of friends that came out of the military that went into law enforcement. Just wasn't my bag of tea because I'm a bit of an a-hole, and if you piss me off, I would probably beat you senseless with my billy club before I read you your rights, and I'd probably be a miserable cop. I'm also a wise ass, and there'd be tons of complaints against me. Just read the comments in some of my videos. There's tons of complaints against me on this stupid ass thing. But yet I keep making videos. It's because I'm awesome. Suck it. But so on the Gen 4, they put this big ejector button doodad, and they made it ambidextrous, which whatever. I'm ambidextrous. I can shoot either way, but I still like my ejection port on the left side of my gun, where my right hand thumb can pop it out, because I think that's the only way you should do it. You know, I've heard stories, and I've had a cop buddy tell me a story. He's like, yeah, you know, got my Glock, they run the 23. For some reason they think 40 is better than 9. Whatever. I'll take more rounds in my mag any day, thank you. And they were he was telling me, you know, in their holster with that big mag ejector button, that when they would draw, the magazine would come loose because the ejector would be depressed when they were drawing it. So they would draw their gun and their magazine would fall at the bottom. So thankfully they had a round chambered, and that was the only thing they could save, was to, you know, draw another mag off their belt and slam it in the bottom of the gun. You know, I know some cops had to resort to taping the bottom of their mags so that it would, you know, more or less wedge it into the base of the gun so that the mag wouldn't slide out and you really have to rip the mag out to change it, which was really terrible. And unfortunately, cops aren't allowed to work on their own guns. So, you know, they'd have to wait for the armorist to get around to doing it. And I think that's a stupid idea. You should be able to work on your own gun, but whatever. I mean, like I said, I do pretty much all my own gunsmithing unless it involves something with welding or, you know, grinding on something, because I don't want to screw that up. So other than that, I'll do all my own work. And if you ever want to see anything done on a gun, you know, feel free to ask. I can do a lot of the stuff. It's actually not that hard. I've got no formal gunsmithing training other than watching other people on YouTube do stuff, and that's how I figured out how to install the Ghost Trigger 3.5 pound thing, and how to pull the spring out and put the competition spring in the trigger. And I can tell you right now, just from the standard pull on the trigger from yesterday to putting those two pieces in today and pulling the trigger on, dry firing on the trigger, is a world of difference on how that trigger feels. It has lightened it up immensely. And honestly, I went to Glockmeister here in Phoenix, and I think the 3.5 pound Ghost Trigger piece cost me like, I don't know, $14, $15, and the competition spring was like $4. So for $20, I was able to lighten up the trigger pull 1.5 pounds, maybe almost 2 pounds. I mean, that's pretty awesome for $20 to really lighten up the trigger and give you a little bit crisper, nicer trigger pull on a brand new gun. I mean, I haven't even hit the range with this thing. I literally bought it yesterday afternoon, spent the day with the fam, and didn't have time after work today. Really wasn't feeling up to it to go to the range and blast some rounds through it. So, I mean, I'm probably going to take this tomorrow and put its first rounds down range, and I think it'll be a nice thing. But like I said, I was very confident carrying this gun today just because of the fact that it's a Glock, and I know if I put a round in the chamber and pull the trigger, it's going to go bang every time. So I hope you enjoyed this. If I go shooting tomorrow, I may post up a second video giving you some results from the range. But other than that, Semper Fi, have a good day. Oh my God!